Hello everybody, and welcome back to Joy of the Garden. I am Joy. Welcome back to the garden. It's been a little while since we've been out here, and there's been a couple changes. I won't show you the entire garden again, but I do want to show you a couple things that I've done since the last time we were together. Now, the first thing, and at least to me the most obvious thing, is there's a ton more flowers in the garden now. I have come to terms after my first year of gardening that I love growing vegetables. I care a lot about growing vegetables, and flowers are an important part of that. But I don't actually independently care about flowers all that much. But I still want them, obviously. I still need the pollinators. So I just went and bought some flowers from my local nursery. So they're doing great. I've actually already seen a ladybug on the marigolds, which is fantastic, so they can help me in my war against the aphids. I do want to show you the beans. So the last time that we talked, I showed these mystery bugs that were on my bean plants, and I initially said I wasn't going to overreact, but then I did, and I sprayed everything with Dr. Bronner's, which I used a lot last year, but I think my dilution was off and I basically killed every single plant. So this is actually a replanting. This is the second generation of beans, and so I wanted to show you guys that they actually look pretty good so far. You can kind of see the leaves are still looking healthy. There's a little bit of discoloration, but I mean, I really can't be shooting for perfect. This is an organic garden after all. But for the most part, these are a little bit late coming up here, but they're getting there. For the most part, they're looking pretty good. If you remember, I think it was 2 videos ago, I talked about how I was going to cut down all of this parsley here so that 1, I could stop the flowering, and 2, I could get some more sun to my carrots. I think I learned an important lesson here that cutting it down doesn't stop the flowering, and in fact the flowering has come back 20-fold. If you can see, there's flowers everywhere now, so I'm probably going to just go ahead and pull out this parsley and start over again with a new start that I can just get from the local nursery. I have plenty inside that I haven't actually used yet, so that shouldn't be a problem. Over here you can also see that these are all just flowers that I haven't found a home for yet. So they're just hanging out still in their little black nursery pot. But over here you can see that I've also replaced nearly all of my peppers. I left this one cayenne pepper in the back here because it actually was still looking healthy. So I'll probably let that stay. But the rest of these are all new starts. I went to an organic nursery, found a couple different peppers. So I have my jalapenos now. I have a bell pepper here. I planted another bell pepper a little bit further down in the garden. I actually did not label this one, which is a rookie mistake. And so I don't know exactly what it is, but it does have some flowers, so I should know before too long what exactly we're dealing with. This is an Anaheim pepper, new to me. I've never had that before. And then back here, I'm pretty sure is my Serrano pepper, but I of course didn't label that one either, so we will see. Quick little update on my strawberries. They are really coming through. The last time I think there were plenty of flowers on here, but I didn't have any actual budding strawberries yet. See this one, but I have a few now. This one's even red over here, and so I know at one point I said, this one's getting a little bit of color. At one point I said that I was going to cut off the flowers and let the plants focus on bushing up for year 1 and then try and harvest on year 2, which still I think is a good idea, but I think I got a little bit greedy and I saw flowers and wanted strawberries, so you know, we'll just let it do what it does, and if I need to buy new starts next year, then that's what we'll do. But it's exciting to see a little tiny baby strawberries on here. Okay, so now, first order of business, and really the most important reason why we're out here today, is to finally getting around to trellising these tomatoes. They went in weeks ago. They should have been trellised weeks ago, but life got away from me. So today I'm going to do that so that I don't get too far down the growing tomatoes with no trellis path, because that did not work out so well for me last year. Alright, so we're going to start with the easiest part, and that's just the tomato cages that I'm going to put on this one and this one. I didn't actually plan accordingly, and I put what turns out to be some indeterminate tomatoes in this bed with the rest of my determinants. And the reason why I really wanted them to all be determinants over here is because I don't have my big 8-foot trellis. I'm only putting cages up here, so we're just gonna see how it goes. I might have to put an extra stake in there, and that's fine. But I really want this Brandywine tomato, and I will not take it out. And I also didn't realize that San Marzanos were also indeterminate. I thought because they were a sauce tomato and a paste tomato, oh, they must be determinate. They are not. So we'll call that a problem for future Joy to deal with. So I think these are just some more of the Epic Gardening cages. Oh, this might be the other type of, yeah, that's totally different. Let me get the cages. All right. So this one, this part, oh no, these are small. Oh no. This is not even almost big enough. I have to double check my order, see what I ordered. Ugh, I did order the smalls. Ugh. Okay, well, I don't have really anything to use these for. I'm gonna have to order the big ones and see if maybe someone I know could use these small ones. So my determinants will remain untrellised. Oh, that's so annoying. This is what happens when you rush and put your orders in. You order the wrong stuff. That's okay. We will make do. We'll move on to trellising the big ones. So I have never actually used this pre-made netting that I'm using this year. Last year I did like a one string coming down to anchor each plant, which was fine. Well, really it wasn't fine. It was kind of a mess. But part of that was that I waited too long to trellis them. So this year I found this pre-made netting out of jute, because even though last year I had the vertical rope string, I kind of wish that there was something on either side of it to try and keep it more in line. It would still kind of go crazy. Again, some of that was probably me waiting too long, but this one I like because it's actually a net, so there's more support for the plants. And also I made sure to get jute netting so that I don't have to be quite so precious about making sure to get it out before I put stuff in compost or something like that. It'll either decompose on its own or it can go in compost. Oh god, it's got roly polies in it, of course, because my whole backyard is overtaken by them. this is, I don't know how easy this is to see on camera, but this is roughly the size of the squares, which I think should be just fine. Now we just had 3 days, I think, straight of rain, so everything is wet, but my plants are really happy, so. Gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. I'm just trying to get this straightened out a little bit so that I can make sense of how it needs to be hung up on the trellis. Now, up until this point, I've actually been using a camera that I got because I wasn't super happy about the quality of my videos using just the iPhone. But at this point, I've now switched back to my iPhone because my camera died. But now I'm just trying to set up this trellis that, while convenient because it does have the built-in netting, it is a little bit cumbersome and it's not a perfect rectangle as far as I can tell. So it took quite a bit of wrestling with it to be able to get it to hang up nicely in a way that each plant would be able to be supported. But I think in the end I did finally get there, and I think that I do prefer this type of trellising. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I think at least at this point I plan on buying it again for next year. But definitely let me know what you think about the quality on the camera versus on my iPhone. I think that it makes a bit of a difference, but I'm curious how it looks from your end. Now, hopefully you can see a little bit better the trellis and that it's sort of kind of coming together. It looks like a net, at least. I couldn't say that a minute ago. Now, I'm hoping that this actually does the trick because even though it's kind of a pain and not super intuitive, it is still better in terms of ease of use. It is still better than what I had last year, so hopefully I can continue to do this. Just buy a net every year, wrestle with it one time, and then that's it. Oh, come on. Now I bet all of this twine at some point is going to break in the rain or something because it just is not good. So I do have some paracord that I bought last year and never used that I'm just remembering as I'm talking. So I might actually later, not today, come back and kind of reinforce this twine so that when it breaks, the whole thing doesn't come falling down. At this moment, I am just very grateful that it's actually a nice day out. It's not one of the inferno days. It's May right now. So in Atlanta, you can either have a really nice, beautiful day with a breeze like today, or you can be sweating and miserable. So I am grateful for weather right now. All right, I think I just need to trim the top there and we should be good. Okay, now, I don't know about you guys, but this is starting to kind of look like a trellis to me. Now I just need to anchor it to the ground, and then we will just hope that it's actually sufficient to hold up some heavy tomato plants full of fruit. I'm wishing that for myself this year. But the reality is that even if it doesn't cut, if it doesn't cut it, we'll make it happen either way. No big deal. Okay, let me get my now I have a million of these little garden staples that I used last year. So I'm going to see if I can use that to kind of stake this into the ground. Right now it's anchored on 3 sides and not this last 4th side. Now I want to show you that I noticed while I was putting up the trellis and just kind of observing my tomato plants that I'm having a lot of growth happening down here, that if I don't prune it and get it under control, then I could be doing myself a world of hurt. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that while I'm out here. If I focus on this plant in particular, if I could get around these leaves so you guys could see, I'm focusing on this one right here. Now, down here at the bottom, you can kind of see how there's a branch that came off that has some leaves on it. There's the main stalk right here. Let me get under this leaf. The main stalk right here. This is the branch that came off of it. And then right in the middle, there's this one, this little branch here. That's called a sucker. Now, the suckers are a blessing and a curse. They are a direct clone of the mother plant, so if I let it continue to grow, or if I cut this off and then root it in water and then soil, I'll have another of these plants. But the curse of it all is that they will grow just like the mother plant. So if I don't get them under control, then, and this is what happened to me last year, then the whole thing will just be full of unruly growth. There will be no airflow, and it actually hurts me in the long run. So I'm going to take this sucker that I just took off here, and then I'm actually going to take this actual leaf as this branch as well, because the leaves, as you can see, are on the ground and they're already being nibbled at, and that's just asking to introduce disease to the plant. So I'm going to get rid of that. There's a couple other ones down here that are touching the ground that I'm going to get rid of. You can see over here there's a similar story. This is the main stalk, this is the branch, and then this growing right in the middle at that 45-degree angle, that's my sucker. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now you'll hear some people that are growing a single leader versus a double leader. That just means how many main stems you allow to grow. So if I left this sucker on here, then that would become thick and strong just like this one, and then that could be my second leader, and I would have a double leader. But because my plants are actually quite close, they're only about 12 inches apart, I'm just going to do a single leader so that it doesn't get too crowded in here and we can keep some airflow. These are all just suckers that I'm trimming off of here because there's tons of them already. Now, does this not look so much better? Everything is trimmed, upright, trellis. I don't know what's going on with that yellow brandywine over there. It's been the same size since I planted it, but it doesn't look dead. So I am choosing to just let it ride. This is a carpenter bee that I'm choosing to be friends with at the moment because he's on my marigold and not buzzing around and bothering me. But I'm just gonna, you can see I took the suckers off, at least most of them. Some of them are still quite small, but they will come off eventually. And then you can see kind of the idea is that they will all kind of weave in and out of this trellis as they get taller, and I won't have to use tomato clips or anything like that, hopefully. I mean, I'm not against using them, but if I can make my life simpler, especially having probably double as many tomato plants as I did last year, that would be ideal. This belongs to the lemon boy. It looks healthy though, so I'm letting it ride, but he's kind of not staying in his lane. Now I'm just going to do the same exact thing to the determinants, despite not having their trellis, annoyingly. Now, I just pruned the determinate tomatoes a little bit, and it seemed like a good time to pop on and say the difference of how I pruned the determinants versus the indeterminates. So, you'll remember that I said that the suckers have the potential to grow on and put on flowers and make fruit and kind of perpetuate the mother plant, if you will, which in an indeterminate tomato, one that will grow indefinitely as long as you have space for them, that is not necessarily wanted because it'll become unruly, it hinders airflow, harder to control. In a determinate tomato, however, they are not going to grow forever. Their genetics won't allow for that. So they have a determined size that they're going to be. So oftentimes, myself included, it will be pruned so that the suckers stay on. So that for that determined size, you get the maximum amount of fruit that you could possibly get. Because if I take the determinate tomato and cut the suckers off, then that's fruit that I'm not going to be able to make back because it's not going to get big enough. It was right around this point that my mic decided to die, and so nothing else that I said was recorded. But I just wanted to show you guys that the potatoes that we planted together 1 or 2 weeks ago are just now starting to pop up, and they look so good. Um, I am excited because it seems like I might actually have a respectable potato harvest this year. You might remember that last year I planted some, but I underestimated my north-facing yard's lack of sun. And so I got a pretty small, um, abysmal even, potato harvest. So this year is pretty exciting because the possibility to have a real harvest seems possible. This is actually all that I have for you guys today after this little potato update. I so appreciate you coming along with me as always. There's still so much more to come in the garden. The summer harvests are still to come, so I hope that you'll follow along, and I hope that your gardens are just as abundant. Until next time.